Island, northern parts of England, and at times across the Midlands we will see some showers which could turn a little heavy, but any showers we do see across the south will have fizzled away by the afternoon, so more sunnier spells to develop here. But notice a change in temperatures, highs only reaching around 25 degrees Celsius, so still warm and pleasant but a little bit fresher compared to what we've had this afternoon, and certainly feeling that bit cooler across northern areas of the UK. Some showers still lingering across the evening before eventually fading away. Plenty of clear skies across Scotland actually to finish off the day, so a cooler night here, and then sunshine will build back through into next week along with the higher temperatures.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
It's the Great British Giveaway Golden Summer Celebration. Your chance to win 2 fantastic prizes. There's an incredible £60,000 in tax-free cash. Plus, you'll also get your hands on a fine gold bar worth over £5,000. For a chance to win £60,000 in tax-free cash and a real gold bar, text GOLD to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entry start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB22 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 21st of August. This is a network giveaway. Entries will be pulled. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
Bold.
They are under no illusion.
Ray.
Are you a human trafficker?
Boundless. I've had enough of the nonsense, and I'm not afraid to say it.
Don't get us on the BBC.
Every weeknight, I tear through the headlines.
The smell of gasoline. Should we be worried about it?
From Westminster madness to cultural war chaos.
What I'm going to do now is they are throwing things out the car as we speak.
Get ready, Britain. Here we go. Patrick Christie's tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it?
Because
the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m. only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m. weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
I've been in Westminster for a long time, but I know that though power may be here, its effect on people's lives is across the whole of the country. We may be where rules are made, but it's where they're implemented that matters. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for forthright and frank discussion on where Britain has come from, where it's going, and where it will end up. That's State of the Nation, Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. Vox Populi, Vox Dei.
All too often, people will be sitting at home watching a press conference live, and they'll hear loads of questions being asked, and they'll be thinking, that's not my question. That's not my concern.
We don't care whose feathers we ruffle. We ask the questions that you want answering.
You're all standing on the street protesting and want to have an open discussion.
My name is Patrick Christie's. I do a show for GB News in the UK. Is it possible to talk to you quickly?
Journalism in this country has been a cosy world full of groupthink until now.
Well, this is the best view ever of Whitehall, looking out across all the tractor drivers of England who've come together to make their point.
Hello, so as you can see, I'm here in Westminster as the protest begins.
Yes, I'm very much in the thick of it.
Look, we're challenging narratives here at GB News, and that's what sets us apart.
It's Saturday night, and this is the Saturday 5, the UK's biggest Saturday night TV show. I'm Darren Grimes, along with Will Kingston, Dr. Renee, Lisa Mackenzie, and Kai Wilshaw. Tonight on the show,
Iranian terrorists are coming to a town near you.
AI is wonderful. It's going to kill us all.
Knock out a teenager as an illegal, and what happens to you? Not much.
And it's absolutely right that Nottingham Mental Health Trust is under investigation for manslaughter.
And the results are in. Andy Burnham has brought hope back to ordinary Britain.
It's 6 p.m, and this is the Saturday 5. A very good evening, my friends. What a week it's been, as Kai says. Andy Burnham is Prime Minister, and he's spent it unveiling TMU plastic policies. They look the part in picture, then they turn up, my friends. They fall apart in your hands, and they cost you far more than they're worth. He's built it himself like a cabinet. My attempt, really, at building one of those IKEA ones. Ed Miliband is Foreign Secretary. The man who couldn't defeat a bacon sandwich is now in charge of Britain's relationship with the rest of the planet. Problem is, he's off the planet. Miliband has announced the Foreign Office will now be at the forefront of the issues that pose profound threat to justice and equality in Britain. Chief among them, of course, the climate crisis. Oh, not the war, not the closure of a shipping lane that the world runs on, but the weather. He did at least mention the reopening of the Strait of Hormuz among his defining commitments. So I can only assume, my friends, the Trump administration will be told that Britain cannot engage until gay and trans lives are represented at the negotiating table. Why, Mr. Miliband will demand, must the Hormuz always be straight? Well, meanwhile, a record 165 people arrived on a single boat on Thursday. Sadly, we didn't have Dr. Renee and her period piece out there to defeat them. One in, one out. It feels like it's more like all in, none out. Do the hokey-cokey. I feel like I'm either doing that or watching a cricket test match, except what's crumbling before our eyes is the very country we love dearly. And what's Andy Pandy had to say about it? Well, naff all. Plenty of warm words about Manchester and 82 pence a week off your energy bill. Oh, that'll get you a lovely stick of celery at your supermarket. Marvellous. No wonder people feel utterly powerless, and he hands you a salad garnish. Then we've got Wes Streeton and Shabana Mahmood. They were caught having a giggle about the early release of vile criminals, laughing away like that canned howling in a bad American sitcom. He said, oh, it's just a joke. Well, I look forward to Labour's stirring defence of free speech the next time a politician on the right cracks a joke. And here and now, my friends, we have Willie Kingston, who I fear may soon be perched in a rubber dinghy heading back this way to claim asylum from future tax rises.
Finally.
Disappointing, though, we on this panel are always keen to enjoy the company of a very happy Willie. And Dr. Renee is here, putting the national interest first in an act of pure patriotism. She's offered her services directly to Andy Burnham. Just next door to number 10 North, she's opened her own clinic. It's called the Rent a Spine Clinic. And we can only pray that the Prime Minister takes her up on this offer. And the sensible lefty, Dr. Lisa Mackenzie, is in for Trey Lowe. Renee has been generous there too. She offered Trey a rent-a-spine package. Though I'm not convinced a trip to Manchester is on the top of his list, my friends. But she has recommended a splendid ointment for the soreness that comes on sitting on a fence for his whole life. And of course, the unsensible lefty Kai Wilshaw. I'm thrilled to bits to see Burnham take the reins, just to see that little smile on that little one's face. He's taken great exception to my County Durham plans on migrant HMOs. Darren, he said, I can think of nothing more exciting than being crammed into a house with 6 other men. This, dear friends, is the Saturday 5. And of course, we want to know your views as well. Send your views and post your comments by visiting gbnews.com/your save. But before we start tearing each other apart, it's your Saturday Night News with Bethany Elsey.
Good evening. Your top stories from the GB newsroom with me, Bethany Elsey. More than 250,000 people in France and Spain have been told to leave their homes as severe wildfires continue to spread. The French government has deployed the army to tackle the flames, which are approaching Bordeaux, and President Emmanuel Macron has requested the help of the European Union. And in Spain, officials have declared a national emergency as authorities in Madrid are warning the fire is beyond the capability of the responders. Well, closer to home, Police Scotland have declared a major incident as emergency services there continue to tackle a wildfire which has been burning in the Cairngorms National Park for 10 days. All 650 residents in the nearby village of Nethy Bridge have been evacuated as a precaution. In other news, almost 900 illegal migrants have crossed the English Channel in Andy Burnham's first week in Downing Street, and hundreds more have been arriving today. Meanwhile, a new investigation in the Telegraph newspaper has revealed that Iran is smuggling secret agents into Britain by disguising them as migrants on small boats. Authorities have reportedly intercepted individuals linked to Tehran intelligence agencies with the help of drones and AI. The Essex Fire Chief has commended the remarkable courage of the firefighters who responded to a huge fire at an industrial unit. It's reported the fire spread to a fertiliser store and caused an explosion, destroying 3 fire engines and 2 officer cars. More than 100 crew were tackling the flames. 20 of those were injured and taken to hospital, but have since been released. Rick Hilton says Essex County Fire and Rescue have launched a formal investigation into the cause.
Yesterday's incident presented exceptionally challenging and hazardous conditions. Our firefighters demonstrated remarkable professionalism, courage and commitment throughout the response. They continue to receive the welfare, well-being support they need following what has been a demanding operational instance. I want to personally thank every firefighter, fire control operator and member of staff who has played their part in this response.
And the Metropolitan Police are rolling out new testing kits to identify illegal e-bikes and e-scooters as part of a crackdown on crime in London. More than 2,500 illegal electric vehicles have already been seized this year, surpassing the total for the whole of last year. Officers say many of the bikes are capable of speeds well above the legal limit and are increasingly being used to snatch phones. Commander Nirav Patel says the new tech helps police to target offenders more effectively.
We recognise that the use of e-bikes for hundreds and thousands of people is perfectly legitimate and is a perfectly reasonable way of getting around the city. But e-bikes are used in phone snatches, particularly in this part of London, and we're really proud of the success of this operation and other operations to tackle mobile phone theft that has effectively halved it in Westminster alone.
Those are the latest headlines. Have a very good evening.
Tune into GB News Radio wherever you are. Online, on DAB digital radio, on TuneIn, on Radio Player, on Nation Player and on your smart speaker. Just say, play GB News.
Thanks, Bethany. Our little Geordie legend. She's been on air a long time today. God bless her. She's a hero. She's a hero. Right, you can see there she's she looks like a lion, doesn't she, in Safari? Right. Have a good time, Bethany. It's Saturday night, my friends. And you're with the Saturday 5. I've just offended our newsreader. Over the next 3 hours, you can expect the hottest debates, the hottest topics, and entertaining interviews. We'll crack on with tonight's first topic. I'm going to kick us off. A young woman, right, leaves a nightclub with 2 mates. A strange man puts his arms around all of them and makes advances. They tell him no. So he swings his fist into the teenager Cleo Lake's face and knocks her unconscious. She's left bleeding in the street with a broken nose. And her crime was to say no. Now, don't get us wrong, right? We've always had wrong-uns in this country. But this Abdullah Burhan was not a British citizen. He was a failed Eritrean asylum shopper, housed in a Bournemouth hotel courtesy of your taxes. And this was no one-off. A week earlier, He had spat at and kicked a subway worker. He caused trouble outside another nightclub. He refused to leave when police ordered him to do so, and he smashed a window in his taxpayer-funded hotel room. He also then missed his trials. 3 warrants were issued for his arrest, and when the CCTV finally caught up with him, he denied it. Yet, you can find yourself banged up for a tweet. He claimed the 3 young women had intimidated him and he was defending himself. Oh, those big, burly teenage girls. The judge, of course, saw through that drivel and gave him the maximum sentence that she could. But don't get yourself excited, my friends. He got 6 months. 6 months for knocking a young girl unconscious because she exercised the apparently controversial right to say no. Now, Cleo's mother has said that her daughter is no longer the carefree young woman that she was. And that, my friend, is Cleo's sentence, is it not? This man had already failed his asylum claim, so why was he here? Why is he still here? Why was no one actually questioning the fact he was being shuttled from one taxpayer-funded hotel to another like a damn well Kardashian? No wonder people feel utterly powerless, yet we're told in Britain that we've got to take more in from countries like Eritrea. Here's the Labour MP, Nadia Whittome, in the House of Commons.
Why not expand those safe and legal routes to places like Sudan, Eritrea, where obviously if an asylum claim comes from those countries, at the very least they should be fast-tracked.
Oh, it's like Oliver Twist, is it not? She says, more! We can't even remove the ones, though, who attack our workers, terrorise young women, smash up hotels and ignore our courts. Far from taking more people, we should be saying, off your pop. No young woman should get a punch to her face and be expected to see the same fella on the streets in 6 months' time.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think the most important thing you said there, Darren, was that we've always got wrong uns, because of course we have. We know that there is violence.
It's because I know, Renee, the comments will be saying, we have people like this in our country.
And we know that most violence against women is by men, and most of them, just because of the population, will be men that were born here. So we do not need to add to that burden on women and young girls by shipping in these people. And actually, Will and I were talking before the show about Denmark's figures on crime, where they have broken it down by nationality and whether these people are asylum seekers. And the violence against women from people from those very countries that Nadia, who is the vilest MP that I've come across recently, who's campaigning actively for men to be in women's toilets as well, the violence against women from these men is so much higher than our indigenous race, because the culture and the way that women are treated in those environments is so different. Why would we want those cultures here?
Renee, it's worth elaborating on that, because an argument you so often get from the left is, well, I just don't believe that data. It's this whole all cultures are equal shtick. I'm looking at a Guardian article at the moment. It was from 2025, and it is about tens of thousands of Tigrayan women, Tigray being in the northern region of Ethiopia, who have been reported brutal wartime abuse by Ethiopian and Eritrean soldiers, such as gang rape and the insertion of objects into their uteruses. But justice seems a distant prospect. This is the reality we have to face, as unpleasant as it is, in that these men are coming from environments where violence against women is normalised. Now, again, do I think it is incredibly sad that they haven't had a liberal Western upbringing where they've been taught that this sort of stuff is wrong? Of course it's sad, but that shouldn't change the fact that that doesn't change that their mentality in many instances is fundamentally different.
I agree. Lisa, Grumpy Grandad says on your say, I'm sick of hearing about migrants attacking women. It seems like it's almost a daily thing. At what point does public safety enter the conversation? When you hear the likes of Nadia Whittome MP, who has a good following online...
She's also at Nottingham as well. She's also from Nottingham. She's the MP from where I used to live.
Do you think
and I can tell
she
you now,
represents the views of people in Nottingham?
And I can tell you now, she's not liked. And the reason she's not liked is because she's not there. She's another one of those MPs that she likes the privilege of being an MP, but she doesn't actually speak for the people who live there because she doesn't know them.
And Kai, the important point is, you know, I said at the start of the show there that you'd quite like to live in a migrant HMO, but putting that aside, you must see these stories. Every week you're on this show, unfortunately. Every week you're on this show. And you see them time and again, but you never change your view. You never say, Actually, I think we ought to do something about this. No, but instead, you welcome the fact that you can take 87 pence off your energy bills week in, week out, and you think that's more important.
No. I don't change my view with Darren, because my view is that
you don't care about women and girls.
through how dare you say that, number one? You know I do. And my view is that this government, especially given that vote of confidence that we see in the reappointment of Shabana Mahmood as Home Secretary, that this government is committed to trying to get rid of, for instance, people that are in asylum hotels, which are just not fit, not suitable accommodation for asylum seekers. That they're trying to get to the point where they're stopping the small boats crisis, which we'll get to, I know, later, but the numbers are down significantly this year. That is all very difficult work, right? I don't pretend, like you do, that there's a silver bullet, and I don't try to pretend to the British people that we can solve this in a matter of months. It's difficult work.
Here, because Mark White was on this very channel, and we have a producer that is based to monitor the English Channel, and he said the wind has been quite bad, therefore crossings are down. So you saying, it's down to Shabana Mahmood's one in, one out, shake it all about.
A crock of rubbish. So the figures I'm talking about are between January this year and July, and you're telling me that the wind has been so consistently bad in that time that is nothing to do with policy. It's to do with the weather. What a load of tosh.
Kai, Australia managed to solve this problem when they put the right policy settings in place in a matter of weeks.
Where's the closest other country to Australia?
Trump managed to solve this problem in a shorter period of time than what the Labor government have been in power for. Again, these are two examples of where if you have political will, you can bring the numbers down to zero.
Can I also...
Why can the UK not do that?
Where is the closest country to Australia?
Can I just say though, listen, this is not left-wing politics. This is not left-wing politics. Wanting people here who are causing harm and a danger to women and children, that's not left-wing politics. There's so much now that left-wing politicians think is left-wing, but actually it's not left-wing. You know, one of the things that we've been seeing over the last few years is these sweeping gangs. Yeah. I don't know if you've heard of them. They are outside nightclubs and pubs. They've not been drinking, and they are purposely waiting there for girls who are drunk coming out. And obviously, some of these people who are doing this are men who don't drink. Some of them are Muslim men, and that's not left-wing politics to want that to stop.
I want it to stop, and this lot will insist that left-wing people in the Labour government don't.
Well, let me ask you this question, because Miss Smith has written in, and Miss Smith says, what do your panel really think about Andy Pandy? Because where are his policies on immigration, keeping our children safe from illegal men, sex offences and rising crime? Where have those policies been? You know, he's had a wee while now knowing that he stood a very good prospect of entering number 10. Why are those policies not announced, but there are a slew of others?
Because he doesn't want to upset his backbenchers.
And this goes to the key point. Kai, I've got no doubt you probably want this stuff to stop, like many people in the Labor Party. But you don't want it to stop badly enough. You don't want it to stop badly enough that, we look mean and nasty. You don't want it to stop badly enough that we will put people in detention, some of whom will be perfectly nice, normal people. You don't want it to stop badly enough to give those things away.
See, I disagree. And I think that the policies and the results of the policies are starting to speak for themselves. Obviously, nobody wants to see horrific cases like this. It's shocking that it remains the case that things like this happen. Frankly, I just can't believe that we inherited this situation.
If you wanted it to stop badly enough,
well, you're saying that you could get rid of...
We'll come back to this topic later on, my friends, because now, though, it's time for the Great British Giveaway. It's your chance to win big in our Golden Summer celebration. £60,000 in tax-free cash and a real fine gold bar worth over £5,000. Here's all the details you'll need for a chance to make it yours.
We're celebrating a golden summer with a terrific two-part Great British Giveaway. First, you could win a sensational £60,000 in tax-free cash to spend however you like this year. What would you do with that? And that's not all, as you'll also win our most precious prize to date, a fine gold bar worth over £5,000. It's pure gold to own, trade or gift to a loved one and secure their financial future. So make sure you Don't miss your chance to bank over £65,000 worth of prizes in our Golden Summer celebration. For a chance to win £60,000 in tax-free cash and a real gold bar, text GOLD to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entry starts at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge, or post your name and number to GB22 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 21st of August. This is a network giveaway. Entries will be pulled. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Best of British to all of you who apply. Now, my friends, I am contractually obliged to do what I'm about to do next.
Don't you need a contract for that?
What have you got coming up?
Well, don't listen to that miserable lot over on the other side of the desk, because the results are in and Andy Burnham has brought hope back into the lives of ordinary Britons.
Some people enjoy lazy Sunday mornings, but not me.
What's the truth of the matter?
So that's a very live question.
Would you support him if he waters down these plans?
Before the spin sets in, I'll be getting to the truth.
This is personal.
No soft questions, no easy answers.
It's one thing if the state has rules in this country. It's another thing whether the police and others actually police them.
Setting the agenda and holding those in power to account.
You can't really blame her if the system is set up this way. You will not want to miss it, trust me.
The Camilla Tominey Show, Sundays from 9:30, only on GB News.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience, because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions. But every Friday night at 9 p.m, you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay, because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome to Free Speech Nation with me, Josh Howard. This is the show where each week we see what's happening in the world of culture, current affairs and politics.
First we'll say, welcome to the UK. Oh, thank you.
And we're not afraid to use our free speech so that you can use yours.
It's not controversial in the slightest to anyone who hasn't lost their mind.
Free Speech Nation, Sunday nights at 7 p.m, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Here at GB News, we made a promise to tell your stories.
And on the 6th of August, we're marking 5 years of doing exactly that.
Celebrate with us by having your say. Join in the debates live on TV and radio.
And meeting your favourite presenters across the country, from Leeds to Aberdeen, from Belfast to Barry Island.
Plus, join me in Essex for our biggest live show of the year. Scan the QR code or visit gbnews.com/celebrate. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome back to the Saturday 5. You've all been getting in touch thick and fast, my friends. And Jack says, excuse me, but lately I've noticed that Kai's tops have been looking feminine.
What does he mean lately?
What on earth could...
I'm showing some cleavage today.
Well, you're also showing your nips.
No, I'm not.
No.
Alex Armstrong did say that that maybe this was showing a bit too much. So write in, let me know what you think.
It looks like a dishcloth.
That's what we said.
I
That's what
like
we
it.
thought.
Thank you.
I
Thank
like
you. It's
it.
good to have some moral support on this panel for once.
I bet that was expensive.
It was.
And
130 quid.
Trey rocks up every week with at least 5 buttons undone, so the precedent has been set.
Right,
Yes, but he hasn't got a medallion.
Okay. Moving us on, Freddie says Kai is right. Andy Burnham has given millions of Britons hope. But there's a caveat. We're all hoping for a general election. Right. Well,
I don't think the Tories are.
continue getting in your views. gbnews.com/your say. And we'll now go straight to the man himself. Kai, take it away.
Oh. How do Brits feel about Andy Burnham after a week? Well, not this miserable lot, by the way, but actual ordinary Britons. Well, the results are in. And actually, most pint-enjoying, Q-abiding patriots think that Andy Burnham has given them hope. Yes, polling by More in Common this week has showed that hopeful is the most used word when used to describe Andy Burnham's new tenure, followed by good, optimistic, and then, of course, many not sure, still indifferent. But this is important, because if Andy Burnham fails to live up to that optimism, it is curtains for the Labour Party. Now, I know it's easy to dismiss things like Number 10 North, capping bus fares as sort of performative, feel-good, short-term window dressing. However, starting by showing that you have people's backs, doing what you can as soon as you can do it, and, let's be real, speaking in human, actually goes a long way to build trust for when those difficult decisions come due. And they will come due. Immigration, NHS, defence, welfare. It's all going to come due in the next few months. There'll be difficult decisions ahead. So tonight, at least, I am cheering Andy Burnham on in his endeavours. After all, it is Labour's last chance.
Kai, it is easy to dismiss that as performative short-term, feel-good window dressing.
Thank you.
Because it is performative short-term,
Because he
feel-good
wants to
window
be an
dressing.
MP, that's why, really.
This is the fundamental problem with Burnham. And again, I concede he does speak human. Again, it's extraordinary the low bar that we have in politics in Britain in this country now. But he is a better communicator, and he seems like a nice enough bloke.
It's a pretty low bar.
Yeah.
Of course. But the reality is all of this performative short-term feel-good window dressing is there because he is not willing to touch the really difficult things this country faces. He's not willing to do what's necessary to grow the economy, which would be to reduce taxes and regulation, and he's not willing to do what it would take to actually get the immigration problems of this country sorted, which would be to detain migrants. It would be to actually have a difficult conversation about incompatible cultures when it comes to legal migration. All that stuff, the Labor backbench, which hasn't changed from Starmer to Burnham, would not accept, and so you're going to get more performative short-term feel-good window
Kai,
dressing.
before you answer that, I want to bring in a surprising voice on this. Because Lisa agrees with Kai.
I do. I agree.
She's never coming back.
I agree, because what I've done this week is I've measured and thought about Burnham this week compared to Starmer in his first week.
Low bar.
And which was an extremely low bar. And when Starmer stood there in front of us all and said, things are going to get worse, life is going to be terrible for you, get ready, it's going to be awful. So if we compare Burnham to Starmer, I mean, I for one, I'm glad that Starmer's gone. I really am. He was awful. He was the worst Prime Minister we've ever had. And he really has done a lot of damage to the country. So getting rid of him has been hopeful. I'm not saying this hope is all about Burnham, but the hope has come from getting rid of Starmer.
It has, and I agree with you, and it is a low bar. The problem is that a few pence here and there for pubs, because it's almost nothing for pubs. It sounds like a big cut, but it's almost nothing.
Yeah.
A bit off our energy bill, which is going to be eclipsed by the rising energy prices that are coming. Bus fares for people outside of London, fine. But all of these things are going to come back to bite because they have to be paid for. And this is going to be the problem because Burnham wants to do much, much more than these little bits, as any Prime Minister should. But until he gets hold of the fact that the state is too big in every single department, from staffing to civil service, to pensions in the civil service, to welfare, until he will grasp that nettle, we cannot do anything.
Yeah.
He also is bound by Starmer's manifesto.
Well, yes, I mean, to a degree. Can I just give the counterpoint what I think, right? This is good politics, what he's done this week, right? Yes. I think he knows, his team knows, they're not stupid. They know that there are really difficult decisions, that they're going to have to grasp the nettle. And yes, there are some things that, for instance, Labour's backbenchers won't like. That's why you have to start off with, yes, small things, but the easy wins, the low-hanging fruit. We all do it in life, right? You have to take the win where you can while you work out the more difficult stuff. Energy bills, right? If you take out the green levies and things, will take time if you want to take those out, or take time if you want to take them into general taxation, or whatever, to actually bring them down. But this is the easiest first thing you can do to show people, I mean what I say, and I care, and I want to help.
Louise Hay has said in an interview that he has been planning for this for a year.
Yeah.
He's had plenty of time to work it out.
Yeah, but yes, I know that, but decisions that are taken now, you can't just magically take things out of energy bills, right? Grid upgrade costs, for instance. You have to work with the energy companies to do things like that. You have to work with National Grid to do that. But this you can do easily with the flick of a switch.
Do you know what is going to bring Burnham down? I mean, I'm no fan of the Labour Party. Everyone knows that. I don't support the Labour Party at all. I am pleased Starmer has gone. I'm relieved because at least we're getting rid of digital ID.
And not getting rid of digital ID. Anyone that thinks digital ID is gone is away with them.
He's given noises. He's given noises that he is. But what's going to bring Burnham down really is events. I think events, because events are coming thick and fast now at us. There is going to be something else that will turn up. It might be another, and I hate to say this, but I just feel that the country is very unsafe, and I think that events will happen. And this is where they'll come unstuck.
Well, when Iran bombs one of our bases...
I agree with that. But also, things can improve outside of our control. You have to hope, right? You have to strike an optimistic note.
Kathy has written in, and Kathy says, Lisa is spot on earlier. Those MPs banging on about better treatment of illegal migrants and aid for Gaza are not working for British citizens. And Kai, on that point that Kathy makes, how does Andy Burnham bring with him a pretty rebellious set of backbenchers who, don't forget, defeated Keir Starmer over welfare reform?
Yes.
How does he manage to get through an agenda?
Exactly as we're seeing now. Can I make one point about this welfare rebellion, which has been talked up by the right-wing press and by everyone, right? Even its own politicians. Pat McFadden, famously in the Mandelson text, said, oh, my God, these MPs, all they ask for is who to tax more to pay for all this. But that welfare rebellion happened in a unique context where Keir Starmer started to U-turn, where they weren't treating their parliamentary Labour backbenchers with any respect. They weren't involving them at all in policy. Now, with a different approach, with a different figurehead, yes, and with different communications and the mission, I think you can get that through and then some.
Right,
you can get those cuts through.
Just as you said to Will earlier, what a load of tosh. And it's a load of tosh. And I tell you why. Because this country now is so reliant on welfare for various reasons. Poor pay, migration, keeping wages down. There are reasons for people.
Yeah.
But the moment that he looks like he might take away some money, those backbench MPs' inboxes are going to be flooded. And when they're flooded, they will start squealing.
What also happened since all of that is the Milburn report and the Timms review, all of which has changed minds, Renee. Yes, it has. People know that the reality is it's unaffordable. They will make difficult decisions, I think, differently to how
I don't think so.
You should come sit in my GP surgery every day.
I don't think so.
Well, I know the Labour Party will be better than that.
Look, MPs like Nadia Whittome, John McDonnell, Richard Bergen, they are not changing their mind for anybody.
You know that they're a fringe of the Labour Party. Most of them were kicked out. The Socialist Campaign Group MPs. They are not representative at all.
They are a fringe. But they've got a loud voice.
Right. Still to come on the Saturday Five.
I'm just saying that
we had multiple prime ministers.
You should repay the money. Will you repay the money?
No, my severance payment was given to me at the time.
Well, Angie Rayner is back in government, so why is she refusing to pay back her severance payment? Plus...
So I've got a problem, and it's quite a big problem. It's a maths problem, but luckily I know the perfect woman who can help. Maths icon, Carol Vorderman.
Was the psychiatrist not available? Carol Vorderman. A cringe combination. Unbelievable. That's all coming up next.
Ready to soak up that holiday sunshine?
Won't we need some cover?
No worries. All sorted.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
A few showers possible over parts of northern and eastern Italy during the course of the weekend. There's been quite a lot of showers recently in northern Turkey. They are fading for Sunday. Much of the south of Turkey dry and sunny, along with most of Greece on Sunday as well. Southern Italy still hot and sunny as well, but further north there is the potential for some big thundery showers. Could even see one or two in Mallorca. Most of Spain and Portugal dry and sunny spells for Madeira and the Canaries. Lots more sunshine to come into next week.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Hello there, good evening. Welcome to your weather update from the Met Office. Some spells of rain still in the forecast, though still very dry across much of the south. It'll turn briefly cooler before things start to heat up again into next week. And it's all thanks to this cold front bringing in some fresher air and also some spells of rain at times, particularly in the west. So it should still be rather dry end to the day across much of southern areas of England and Wales, but eventually more cloud pushing in from the west, and this will be thick enough to produce some light outbreaks of rain. Also plenty of wet weather across Scotland, Northern Ireland, northern parts of England, some heavier downpours at times, but because of all the cloud and rain, it should still remain mostly mild overnight. So to start on Sunday, there's quite a lot of wet weather around, especially across Scotland. We could still see some heavy spells through the early hours of Sunday, this eventually clearing away and it becomes more showery in nature through the course of Sunday morning. Plenty of showers across Northern Ireland, northern parts of England, bringing another wet start to Sunday. And similarly across western parts of Wales, southwest England, we'll see some showers filtering through here. Now across southern areas of England and Wales, where it has been a very dry summer so far, we'll see some splashes of rain, but really not enough to wet up the ground as much as we need it to. A bit more rain to come across Scotland, Northern Ireland and northwest England. Well, once again by the afternoon, soon turning showery, so allowing some brighter spells to develop. Some sunny spells across parts of the south. Feeling a lot fresher for all, not quite as warm as this afternoon. Highs reaching around 25 degrees Celsius, a little bit cooler across the north. Highs of 17 to 18 degrees here. Now on Monday, we'll still see some rain in the forecast, mostly showers across western Scotland, northwest England, before further band of rain moves into Northern Ireland later. Still plenty of sunshine across southern areas of England and Wales. The sunshine's here to stay across the south next week, along with temperatures increasing. That's it from me. Bye-bye.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first.
Well, and that's what you get on GB News. Lively debates, lively conversation.
And we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pearce.
And me, Miriam Cates, for Britain's Newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
Breaking news, live updates, stories that matter.
From the heart of the GB Newsroom to every corner of Britain, with our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
GB News bulletins are there to deliver the latest news that matters to you.
Bulletins on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
As soon as it hits 11 and the headlines come in,
the Late Edition brings you the breaking news from all the front pages.
Because the news is going to happen.
So get a head start today.
Patrick Christie's Tonight, Late Edition.
Alex Armstrong Tonight, Late Edition. From 11 o'clock every night.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Here at GB News, we made a promise to tell your stories.
And on the 6th of August, we're marking 5 years of doing exactly that.
Celebrate with us by having your say. Join in the debates live on TV and radio.
And meeting your favourite presenters across the country, from Leeds to Aberdeen, from Belfast to Barry Island.
Plus, join me in Essex for our biggest live show of the year. Scan the QR code or visit gbnews.com/celebrate. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome back to the Saturday 5. Thank you so much for getting in touch on gbnews.com/your say. Simon says, Darren, I don't know who wrote your opening lines. They're brilliant. I beg your pardon. wrote them myself. You think that there is a team of staff writing Darren Grimes' comments about that? No.
Did you just refer to yourself in the third person, Darren?
I did actually, yes. Yeah.
I always enjoy
I
when
will
Simon
show
writes
us very
in.
surprised.
I always enjoy when Simon writes in, just so I can get a little giggle out of Simon says.
Yeah.
But I'm a simple-minded anyway.
All right. OK, thank you so much for those messages. We'll get to some in just a second. But now, though, it's time for some triggered tantrums. And first up, what's got you triggered, Renee?
So my tantrum this week is really just cringeworthy. You know, that great mathematician who has been a Tory, then Labour, it looks like now she's playing with the Greens. See for yourself.
So I've got a problem, and it's quite a big problem. It's a maths problem, but luckily Anna, the perfect woman who can help. Maths icon, Carol Vorderman. So Carol, could you help?
What is the problem?
So if someone accepts a gift of £5 million off a billionaire worth £18 billion, and the total sum declared is 0%, what's the answer?
I don't think that's a maths problem. The math ain't nothing.
Oh dear.
I was waiting for them to kiss, to be honest. It was really weird.
That sounds like a you problem.
I mean, I don't know. That made my skin crawl this week, so I picked it as my tantrum.
They're not wrong, though, are they?
Oh.
Well,
they're not wrong.
Carol said at the end there, the maths ain't mathing. Well, maybe, Kai, she could tell that to Andy B.
I think that when you see and Burnham is bad at it, we saw that stupid video of Polanski dancing on Twitter the other day. They are confusing connecting with young people as acting like children. It's silly, it's not serious. You can connect with people of different age groups without acting like, you know, kids in the special class.
Well, it's a good job we're taking the votes down to 16-year-olds.
I'm afraid far too many of them on the political left are indeed a bit special.
Yeah, are special. They were the kids in the special class.
No.
I said on X earlier, we are now faced with a situation where our political class is comprised of the drama misfits, the forgettable kids, and the kids who are sitting in the end of the playground with a magnifying glass killing the ants. That is the people who are now our politicians.
Yeah, that was completely unserious. There are serious issues that Anna from Manchester should be addressing. And just being silly. Because I don't know what she was asking.
No.
What was the question?
Lisa, what have you got for us?
What I've got is Angela Rayner returns, and she's decided she is not going to pay back the almost £17,000 that she took in severance.
You talk about Tory chaos. One of the things we saw lots was comings and goings of ministers, and when they were sacked and resigned, they received severance payments. And back then, you said, when people up and down the country are struggling to pay their mortgages and put food on the table, it shows a staggering lack of shame for them to accept this money. But it's exactly what you come to expect from a bunch of Tories who only care about themselves. That's what you said at the time. When you left Cabinet last year, you got £16,876.
Well,
the Conservatives are now saying you should repay it back because you're back in the job you left.
Sure, and that was a year ago. And Matt, these people it was a revolving door after 40-odd days.
No.
Just no.
No, just no. She knows she's got no leg to stand on here. She's been absolutely hypocritical. She knows that if you look at the things that she's said over the last, 5-6 years.
Quite. She said that these people earning second jobs, that being an MP should
she's earned
£180,000.
So did I read that Wes Streeton isn't going to get paid for 3 months because he is not taking his severance payment?
Yes, not going to pay for
So is that not slightly embarrassing within the Cabinet?
Do you know what? I'm going to be honest about Angela Rayner. I've always seen her as a class traitor, always. I have always said this about her. Angela Rayner is there for Angela Rayner. She's not there for her constituency. I don't even think she's there for the Labour Party, to be honest.
Can I say quickly, good for Wes Streeting. We get stuck in when they do the wrong thing. If he's doing the right thing, good for him.
Good.
Now, Lisa, what have you got coming up for us after the break? Your topic tonight, it's pretty serious, pretty heavy.
Yes, it is. It's for those of you who can cast your mind back to the Valdo Callacane murders in Nottingham. It's where I live. The streets where I live was 3 very innocent people were murdered. And we found from the Nottingham inquiry that there's been terrible letdowns. And so the Northumberland police are actually investigating Nottingham Mental Health Trust.
So we'll discuss more on that. That's coming up after this.
GB News Breakfast. Every day from 6 a.m.
What do you think about where we're going to get our future athletes and our Olympians from when we're telling our children, oh, you can't go out and partake in sports today because it's a bit hot?
It really worries me. We have a generation that spend their life being very inactive, an awful lot of time on mobile telephones, coming up with every excuse as to not to move and not to be moving. Sport in schools is where we can catch every kid. And the kids that will lose out are the kids that come from areas of deprivation, because the parents that can afford to make sure their children do sport will still do that. But the parents that can't afford, sadly, will miss out. So it's really important that our kids, do enough physical activity, lay down these habits, understand about how their body works and nutrition and food and looking after themselves and health. We have a health crisis. It's really important we start early.
The People's Channel. This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
GB News entertainment editor Alex Davies joins us now. What a woman, what a voice, what an incredible life. What more can you tell us?
Yeah, like you said, she's a singer whose songs have transcended generations, really. Everybody knows Total Eclipse of the Heart. Everybody knows Holding Out for a Hero. She's been awarded an MBE. She represented the UK at Eurovision. And it's just very sad. Tributes have already started to pour in from across the showbiz world and just fans in general. This is somebody who's, like I said, transcended generations with her music and will continue to do so posthumously.
Well, thanks so much. I met her just once in a green room. She was an absolute delight, and even speaking, she had that great rasping voice.
Oh, what an incredible voice.
Incredible voice.
GB News, the People's Channel. Britain's newsroom, weekday mornings from 9:30.
So you go along to the car showroom and only like 10%, at most maybe 15%, pay cash. The rest buy on some form of financing. And you often buy, it's a bit like a mortgage, and it's like buying a mortgage from the estate agent, which we all know is a terribly bad idea. Yeah. But this is what people did. And the scandal is, the guys in the showroom were acting as dealers and brokers, and they were in many cases inflating the interest rate that you paid so that they could get bigger commission. And they didn't declare that. So you basically ended up paying more for your car than you would otherwise have done if you'd gone into the open market and found yourself, a better deal.
How did that come to light?
Well, over many years. I mean, this has been going on since 2007.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Welcome back to the Saturday Five. Now, I don't know what all of you at home have been doing during the break, but Pete has written in and Pete says, I like Kai's top.
Thank you, Pete. Finally.
Someone else said you've been on too much lately.
Yeah, well... And Grumpy Grandad said, Kai, the last time I had a shirt that open, I was in a nightclub dancing to Saturday Night Fever.
Should we not get
funny you should say, Grumpy. Well, we should. I think this calls for a Saturday 5 night out tonight. What do you think?
Well, I wouldn't say no.
Wait, can you phone Colin and tell him I'm not coming home?
Well, I will. I will.
Dross says, Darren, even for you, that was quite an opening. Now,
as you were.
For my radio listeners, I was pulling a face there, but I won't say anything else. Anyway, continue getting in touch at gbnews.com/your say. Right. Now, Lisa, it's your debut, and it's a serious one.
It is. It is. It is very serious, actually, but it's also groundbreaking as well. Nottingham Mental Health Trust are now going to be investigated for manslaughter for the way that they behaved during Valdo Callicane, who murdered 3 people in Nottingham in 2023. The things that went wrong. Callicane has been sectioned 4 times and they still let him go. They let him go, they let him walk around the streets. He was causing havoc, actually. He was attacking people. And then in 2023, he murdered 3 innocent people. And Nottingham Mental Health Trust is now going to be investigated for manslaughter. So it's the first time that this has ever happened. And I know that the families are really pleased that this has happened.
And you've met the families, right?
I have met the families, yes.
And, I mean, how does that change a person? You know, what happened to those families? How does that change a person?
Do you know what? Grace, the young woman, the student who died, her father, who I met just a few weeks ago at the memorial, he is such a dignified man, but also very broken. He says that she was the love of his life, and she was taken away in the worst way.
So what would you like to see happen as a consequence of this, Lisa?
I would like to see people being held to account properly.
Yeah.
The lack of care, but also the inquisitiveness, you know, the doctors at Nottingham Mental Health Services, you know, they weren't even inquisitive, didn't even know where he was living. And when they didn't know, they just let him go.
So there's an uncomfortable question here, and I say we do not know whether or not race was a factor in the decision to release this man from being sectioned, but we do know that there has been allegations that he was not sectioned at an earlier time in 2020 and race was a factor there. We would not be surprised if it was the case, given what we have heard about ideological capture in other institutions in this country. And I would say that given that there are so many decisions now made by judges, made by politicians, made by other people in power, which are based off their own luxury beliefs that then have deadly consequences, I'm very happy to see that as a result of that, finally those people are held to account. Because again, it's not gross incompetence in many cases, and I'm not speaking here specifically necessarily, we need to find out more. But if you are going to make a decision which is because of your luxury beliefs and people die as a result of it, you should be held personally accountable.
Renee, you're a doctor.
Yeah, so look, I don't believe any doctor goes to work on any day and wants to cause any harm. And I really do believe that. I think the system is so badly broken that the people working within it are also broken. And when you don't value your workforce, people just don't see the wood from the trees. But I think there's a bigger picture here. I support this. I absolutely support this. But it's much bigger. We decided a few decades ago that we would no longer have locked asylums for people with very serious mental health conditions, and we would have care in the community. And I talk about this as somebody who has somebody in her family with severe schizophrenia. I've seen this at work. Now, those decisions are fine if you can staff it and run it and follow these people. And we are getting more and more of these people, especially as we get migrants from war-torn places that have seen horrific things every single day. And we can't. We couldn't keep track of this man. This man was seriously ill. And I do believe he was seriously ill. I'm not justifying his actions. I believe he was seriously ill. We do not have the wherewithal. And we need to have a grown-up conversation as a society where we say, look, when people are this sick, won't take their medications, can we please lock them away?
But Renee, you accept Will's point, though, that within medicine at large, there is whackery and wokery being pervasive within it.
The NHS is the most captured organisation by woke ideology in the country.
Why is that? How does it change that? How would this change that?
Well, what I would hope, I think this is looking at the Mental Health Trust, not
and will it touch issues like race, though? Will it actually touch that?
Well, they are going to be investigated by the police. Yeah. So I'm not sure. But what I would say, just to come back on that, is that what has happened over the last, 10 years, is the threat to the public has not been measured. The individual has been measured as a victim almost, and the public has not been, they've not been part of that conversation.
We do need to consider that actually, if this woke ideology wasn't in place, Axel Bakana would not have been walking the streets and killed 3 beautiful young girls.
The other very great example.
Kai, a brief word from you, please.
Yeah, I think cases like this, people want somebody to blame, don't they? But in our law system, actually, it's much easier to convict individuals who are lower level down frontline staff than it is to actually attack to get to the root causes, like organisations that just have completely failed. So I think this is positive, but so rarely do we see that managers and systems are held to
I don't think
account.
you're absolutely right. I don't think we always want someone to blame. If somebody is seriously ill, we've done everything that we can to make them well, then it's that person's fault.
OK, my friends, after this very short break, we'll find out what you voted for us to debate in our Saturday scrap. I can't wait. See you after this.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello there, good evening. Welcome to your weather update from the Met Office. Some spells of rain still in the forecast, though still very dry across much of the south. It'll turn briefly cooler before things start to heat up again into next week. And it's all thanks to this cold front bringing in some fresher air and also some spells of rain at times, particularly in the west. So it should still be rather dry end to the day across much of southern areas of England and Wales, but eventually more cloud pushing in from the west, and this will be thick enough to produce some light outbreaks of rain. Also, plenty of wet weather across Scotland, Northern Ireland, northern parts of England, some heavier downpours at times. But because of all the cloud and rain, it should still remain mostly mild overnight. So to start on Sunday, there's quite a lot of wet weather around, especially across Scotland. We could still see some heavy spells through the early hours of Sunday, this eventually clearing away and it becomes more showery in nature through the course of Sunday morning. Plenty of showers across Northern Ireland, northern parts of England, bringing another wet start to Sunday. And similarly across western parts of Wales, southwest England, we'll see some showers filtering through here. Now across southern areas of England and Wales, where it has been a very dry summer so far, we'll see some splashes of rain, but really not enough to wet up the ground as much as we need it to. A bit more rain to come across Scotland, Northern Ireland and northwest England, but once again by the afternoon soon turning showery, so allowing some brighter spells to develop, some sunny spells across parts of the south. Feeling a lot fresher for all, not quite as warm as this afternoon, highs reaching around 25 degrees Celsius, a little bit cooler across the north, highs of 17 to 18 degrees here. Now on Monday we'll still see some rain in the forecast, mostly showers across western Scotland, northwest England, before further band of rain moves into Northern Ireland later. Still plenty of sunshine across southern areas of England and Wales. The sunshine's here to stay across the south next week, along with temperatures increasing. That's it from me, bye-bye.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Box Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
We're celebrating a golden summer with a terrific two-part Great British giveaway. First, you could win a sensational £60,000 in tax-free cash. And that's not all, as you'll also win our most precious prize to date, a fine gold bar worth over £5,000. For a chance to win, text GOLD to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entry start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB22 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 21st of August. This is a network giveaway. Entries will be pulled. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Some people enjoy lazy Sunday mornings, but not me. What's the truth of the matter?
So that's a very live question.
Would you support him if he waters down these plans? Before the spin sets in, I'll be getting to the truth.
This is personal.
No soft questions, no easy answers.
It's one thing if the state has rules in this country. It's another thing whether the police and others actually police them.
Setting the agenda and holding those in power to account. You can't really blame her if the system is set up this way. You will not want to miss it, trust me. The Camilla Tominey Show, Sundays from 9:30, only on GB News.
Britain is not just a geographical expression. We are a people bound together by history and culture that are distinctively British. Join me to celebrate our music, theatre, artworks and literature, which we can explore and enjoy together.
Everybody's welcome.
Sunday with Michael Portillo. every Sunday at 11 a.m. on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun. No, he didn't say that, Dave. I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m. only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
It's Saturday night, and this is the Saturday 5, the UK's biggest Saturday night TV show. I'm Darren Grimes, along with Will Kingston, Dr. Renee, Lisa McKenzie, and Kai Wilshaw. Tonight on the show,
we'll discuss if Andy Burnham should call a general election now.
Is AI going to take over the world?
Look on the right, guys, Paul McCartney.
well, imagine bumping into the Paul McCartney in Liverpool. There'll be some of our high fives for the week. And Lisa, you...
Yep. Net zero.
Oh. Will it? What
Will
will
it?
do?
Well, will it save the world or will it cause blackouts?
Well,
Quote, civil war in Britain is inevitable. Just a question
on the current
of when.
trend, yes.
I mean, when were you last in the UK?
A few years ago.
Exactly.
Yes, and that'll be the rest of our triggered tantrums, including that blithering idiot.
That's something nice thing to say
Which
about
one?
the interviewer.
The Economist, yeah. We'll bring you the rest of our triggered tantrums, including that guy himself, Elon Musk. It's 7 p.m, my friends, and this is the Saturday 5. Yes, indeedy. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Now, you've been sending in your views thick and fast over this first hour, and Lady Jane Grey, presumably not the Lady Jane Grey, has written in saying, Darren, severance pay in relation to Angela Rayner is redundancy pay. She shouldn't have been paid a penny as she was not made redundant. The job was not a redundancy job. These MPs like Rayner are just leeching off the state. Well, and Coral says, Darren, great panel tonight. Great show. Well, thank you very much, Coral. Your £5 is in the post. And Lady Jane Grey as well. She's back again. This woman, honestly, I believe she haunts certain residences in this country. But Lady Jane Grey says, I like Lisa. She tells it the way it is.
Thank you. Thank you, Lady Jane Grey.
And David says, Kai, I'm delighted to hear you say that Andy is going to slash the welfare bill.
Yeah,
you
heard it here
my
first.
friends. You heard it here first. And when it doesn't happen, we'll be able to sort of put you on a hog roast.
Oh, well, goodness me. What do you mean?
Roll you around and say that, you got it all wrong.
I'm not eating.
Put an apple in my mouth.
No, I beg your pardon. Righto. And Kathy, again, there's lots of love for Lisa. Lisa is spot on. These MPs, they're talking about the treatment of illegal migrants. What about focusing on us? What about focusing on us here?
Yeah.
It's a good question.
Totally.
Well, Stephen says, Stephen, I'm disappointed. He says, why does all the laughing seem fake? Is it because all these talking heads are so cheap, they've got no acting skills?
Oh, goodness. No, we're really laughing. No one tells us to laugh.
Is Stephen trying to say I'm not amusing?
I didn't realise the viewers didn't know I'm a paid actor. I don't believe any of this.
That would make a lot of sense, actually.
Yeah, no one actually believes these things. Now, anyway, we'll get to some more of your questions or / comments later on. Thank you so much for sending them in. gbnews.com/your say is the link that you need to get involved in the action. Right, now though, we'll get on to our next meaty topic. It's Will. Will, what have you got for us?
Thanks, Darren. I read a question that was posed by John Cleese on X this morning, and it felt like a kick in the guts. He was responding to the town of Piddington, a town of 350 people, and it's about to be overrun by 1,250 male third world illegal migrants. It's going to completely change the social fabric of that town. And John Cleese very correctly asked, what have they done to have their lives and expectations changed like this? It's a question the whole country can now ask. The Telegraph was reporting yesterday that Iran have been sending covert operatives across the English Channel. People smugglers working on the continent told the Telegraph in a really good piece of reporting that the Iranian regime facilitated the passage to Britain of migrants living at Calais in exchange for a favour from Iran. And this is after we already know that there is a whole Iranian IRGC infrastructure that has been set up in this country and that runs through charities, through mosques, and even through certain colleges. Now, even if you're not blown up by an Islamist, you have to wake up in this country every morning and recognise that there is a very real threat of disorder, of violence, of terrorism. You're not comfortable in your own country in a way that you once were. And I ask again, what have we done to have our lives and expectations changed like this? Again, the government isn't going to do anything. On Thursday, we saw a super dinghy arrive, 165 illegal migrants on board. This is now 2 years into a Labor government that could have solved this problem if they wanted to. It took Australia and it took the USA far less time to get those numbers down to zero or very near to it. But again, the Labor government doesn't have the instinct to do it. I ask again, what have we done to have our lives and expectations changed like this? I don't think Andy Burnham will have the appetite to do what is necessary to change this, so I would just plead to him, if these boats are going to keep coming, which it looks like they will, at least detain these people. Detain these people, some of whom are perfectly fine, many of them who are incompatible with our culture, and some of them who will be terrorists, rapists, and prospective murderers. The right of these men, and they are predominantly men, to wander villages and go for a walk each day should not trump the right of us not to be blown up.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think it's really interesting, and I had a message about this earlier, that I have campaigned for the last 3 years to detain these people, that if they're coming from places that were so horrific that they needed to come here, they would be grateful for somewhere warm, safe, and have meals every day. But the reason we actually don't do it, apart from the moral argument that it's inhumane, and Kai will say they're not criminals, Renee, we're actually not allowed to do it under the laws that we have signed up to. This government has such a big majority, whether it's under Starmer or Burnham, that they could actually take us out of those laws and detain these people. They don't want to, Will.
That's the fundamental point. This is about political will. It is not about any sort of technical challenges. It's not about resource constraints. This goes to fundamental political will. If they wanted to do this, they could.
Yeah.
I think as well, this goes back to a lot of the things that we've talked about tonight about in this country, who is a victim, and then how does that risk be managed? And it seems now that, particularly with this case in this village, that the village and the people who live there don't seem to be as important as the refugees, who are always seen through the victim lens.
It's choices.
But Will, do you know what gets me is that the Elon Musk comments that we'll come to later on, I nearly described him as a politician. Not quite. But someone that's politically active, let's say. When Elon says that the United Kingdom is on a path to head the civil war, and I hear the residents of Piddington and elsewhere say that they want to separate themselves from the United Kingdom because of this imposition upon them and their lives. Some of them saying they're moving their daughters out of the village in order to keep them safe. What do we do in that situation? And how, if the ballot box is fundamentally broken, how do you not end up in that position?
Well, the sad thing is, I think you will see a segregated sectarian society. And this is already happening. You are seeing now having white minorities in the major cities. In London, for example, London is now a minority white city. Again, I'm saying here that race is correlated with culture, and as a result of that, for many people, it doesn't feel like London now. So you are seeing people moving out, or people who were born in this country moving out to Essex, moving out to the shires, moving out to the villages, where you will still have a feeling where it still feels like England. And then basically, and I've heard a lot of people say this, where, you know what, we just have to give the cities away. That is now a sacrifice to the multicultural gods, and unfortunately, we're not going to get them back. And so you're going to have a deeply divided country if something fundamentally doesn't change at the political level.
But putting aside the asylum seekers and the channel migrants discussion that we're having, what's the problem with having a non-white majority London?
Because race is correlated with culture. And so for many people...
But the vast majority of people see a mixed-race kid and can accept that he's British.
Again, in and of itself, race isn't the problem. The problem is that these people too often are coming from third-world cultures which are incompatible with the culture of the United Kingdom.
The scale of what you're describing, which is the third-worldism, the redolent of the small boats migrants, is very different to the other phenomenon which you described about London residents. It is, Will.
For example, there have been hundreds...
Because the numbers don't matter.
There have been hundreds of thousands of Pakistanis, for example. I would suggest that is an incompatible culture, who have now moved into London and changed the social fabric.
So British Pakistanis and incompatible culture, because that goes back a while longer than what we're talking about.
He didn't say British Pakistanis, he said migrants.
Hang on. With the dinghy coming over, right, you've got, with Kai saying that actually the government's measures have put an end, well, not put an end to this, but slowed it down. That's your argument, yes? Is that fair?
I think, and to Will's point as well, I think the will is there. But I think the measures that you think should be taken to stop this, the Labour government and those on the left broadly think that they can get there by other means, by not pulling out the ECHR.
The will is there, and I thought, yes, he is there, Kai. Well done. Where have you been for the last hour? But honestly, when 150 can cram in on one of those really massive dinghies.
Well, they know we're going to escape them here.
There's also no risk now, is there? The risk is so low because the French support them to the border in the sea, and then we pick them up. So there's no risk.
Lisa, Kai's argument is, and you're perfectly capable of speaking for yourself, I know, but the argument from the Labour lot is that actually the deterrence from empowering the French to be able to deter those getting into the boats, because
it's not just that.
Greater measures, fine, but there's a list of them then doing that, the one in, one out policy. And the way in which, what else? What else is there? I literally can't think of anything else.
Well, actually, the article
here.
The article that Will highlighted in his monologue about the fact that the Iranian regime sends people on small boats, that actually highlights some of the things that now are in place in the channel. Things like these watchtowers, AI drones, all sorts of things. And that's why the numbers are starting to come down. The French return scheme started small, but now is about 300 migrants being returned every month, which is a start. It's about 10% of arrivals.
500 that arrived over the last few days. How many of those do you think might be Iranian plants in there? How many? How do the drones know? I think it's him.
I'm just going off the Telegraph investigation that you might have wanted to read before you came on the show, Renee. Can I just point out what else that article shows, right? It shows that you say...
Telegraph now.
You say that it's easy, right, to stop all of this.
Yes.
I say... You look at this, the fact that there are such malign forces behind some of these arrivals. And by the way, they're not just arriving by boat, because that article also says that they arrive by plane too. So it's also possible to arrive in a load of different ways. The threat profile against this country, yes, has increased by small boat arrivals, which we're tackling. But these people are flexible. They will find a way. They will find the holes in our border.
All right, let's start with the small boats. If we can sort that out, I think that's a pretty good start. Now, the Burnham says tomorrow, if you come to this country by a boat illegally, you will never, ever be allowed to stay in the UK. And additionally, when you arrive here, you will be detained and you will not be allowed out until you agree to go back to your country of origin or a third-party country. How quickly do you think the boats will stop?
I don't know, Will.
In a matter of weeks. That's the Australian example. So you say this is complicated. One second. You think this needs drones. You think this needs watchtowers. It needs those two things. It needs a firm statement that is actually backed up, which says, if you come to this country by boat, you will never be allowed to stay. And until you do choose to leave, you will be left in detention. The boats would stop in weeks. That's all you need to do.
Do you know what gets me as well is that it's the people that are coming over in these massive super dinghies. They clamber over children in some circumstances, but women to the extent that some of them are being trampled to death in the rush to get on to these things. And it's all not because they're fleeing war and persecution.
It's because they're coming to the land of milk and honey.
Quite.
So you say, though.
So
can you not even agree that maybe some of them are genuine refugees and asylum seekers? And
No,
to your
because
point,
they were
Will,
in France.
what do you do about them?
No, because
What do
they
you do
were
about
in
them?
France.
And
It's a safe
it can be
country.
both. You can
It's a safe.
You can both want to. You can both be fleeing a war-torn country and want to come to the UK for other reasons.
Do you know what I
Plenty of other
suspect?
reasons.
Do you know what I suspect is the people who come over on the boats are the people that wouldn't be able to walk through an airport because they do have papers when they arrive from France because they get to France from all different routes. But then when they come over on the boats, they have no papers. You know, I think it's because they can't get through an airport. And there might be lots of reasons why they might not get through the airport. We have got the refugees on small boats are part of a organised crime network that also end up in vape shops and barber shops in every high street in the country.
Or the underground economy.
Yeah, and also, so some of those people who are coming over are also trafficked people as well. And then they're part of this great big organised crime network that actually we all do know about.
Terror cells, as Will points out.
And we can't let, and whatever we say on this programme, the public out there do not like the small boats. It does not make them feel safe.
So, you know, Grumpy Grandad says Will is correct, but they don't want to stop them. And I'll put this to you, Kai.
That's just not true,
Or
because they are.
would. You can't tell me that we can't defend our borders if we want to, because I bet we could if we had to. And, you know, you mentioned, Kai, you say a watchtower, and you make it sound like my mind immediately went to Sauron's eye, sort of looking over the English Channel. But if there is a watchtower there, they are quite literally watching. Watching and doing the square root of Sweet Naffle.
How much are Darren, how much are the numbers down?
The numbers are
Year
down.
to year on year. Do you know the numbers?
The numbers fluctuate.
Do you know
each
the
year.
numbers?
The numbers fluctuate. In 2023,
Oh, so you don't know.
In 2023, they were different than they were in 24, and the same in 25.
Right.
They were high last year, and I think actually you'll regret saying this when it comes to the later months and the weather
When
changes.
this beautiful summer continues.
Renee, you can't just have it both ways, can you?
Do you know
One
what?
minute you say the weather's been bad, so Kai, you can't have it. You can't say
We have
that
to be
that's
honest.
why.
We have to be honest.
Kai.
The wind has
we
been
have to
such
be honest.
in the 7 months.
The British
I've heard it all.
public, the British public have had enough.
Yeah.
They don't want any.
Yeah.
That's the problem. That's the problem that we've now got. They don't want anybody
Well,
to
Lisa,
come
you're
over.
an anarchist, right? And I imagine there's a fair few people right now that are saying, well, democracy's had its chance.
Well, it does beg the question when people keep voting for the same thing all the time and no politician seems to be able to deliver.
OK, right. I've got a response from the Home Office. A Home Office spokesman said this. Our first priority is national security. There are stringent security checks for small boat arrivals. Those identified as a threat will be detained immediately, and we will do everything in our power to remove them at the earliest opportunity. On top of these robust processes, we have fast-tracked a change in the law to outlaw support for the IRGC, equipping the police and intelligence service with more powers to disrupt those working on their behalf and making it easier to prosecute them. Well, right, still to come tonight, Renee, something is troubling you very deeply indeed. What have you got coming up?
Yeah, so we've seen this week some really scary developments in the AI world, and actually I'm going to show you why, if we don't stop this now, they're just going to kill us all. Let's go.
Welcome to Free Speech Nation with me, Josh Howard. This is the show where each week we see what's happening in the world of culture, current affairs and politics.
First we'll say, welcome to the UK. Oh, thank you.
And we're not afraid to use our free speech so that you can use yours.
It's not controversial in the slightest to anyone who hasn't lost their mind.
Free Speech Nation, Sunday nights at 7 p.m. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m. weekdays here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Here at GB News, we made a promise to tell your stories. And on the 6th of August, we're marking 5 years of doing exactly that.
Celebrate with us by having your say. Join in the debates live on TV and radio.
And meeting your favourite presenters across the country, from Leeds to Aberdeen, from Belfast to Barry Island.
Plus, join me in Essex for our biggest live show of the year. Scan the QR code or visit gbnews.com/celebrate. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome back to the Saturday Five. You've been getting in touch thick and fast, my friends. Peter, and I'm starting to think actually that Lisa has been sending some of our viewers payments in advance. Little brown envelopes have been going out, Lisa. Because Peter says, Darren, can we have Lisa on more regularly, please? Common sense and she's lovely.
Yeah. Oh, thank you.
Yeah, you want to see her on a night out, she's hard as nails. And
I have seen Darren on a night out in Durham.
and Mark says, how do they on Earth identify potential terrorists if they have no identification? Yeah,
oh, with the watchtower.
Yeah, the watchtower. And the drones. The drones.
Yes.
They piddle about the channel.
You're going to regret saying that, you know.
And Kathy says, Darren is just great. Why on earth did they get rid of him? They didn't, I promise. I left.
They left. I begged them to stay.
Right. I paid her to. No, I didn't. And then Claire says, which leads us nicely on to our next topic, but Claire says, I feel really conflicted by the whole artificial intelligence debate. On the one hand, I should say, I absolutely rely on an insulin pump and glucose closed-loop system to control my insulin and glucose level. On the other hand, I really don't trust artificial intelligence. Do you remember Skynet?
Well, shall I take over from there?
Indeed.
What a great comment to start with. Well, we've all seen Terminator, haven't we? And if you haven't seen Terminator, I suggest you go and watch it, and then you'll understand everything. Skynet, Judgment Day, machines that wake up and decide that we, humans, are actually the problem. We laughed, we bought their merchandise, we told ourselves it was just a movie. But this week, an OpenAI model broke free of its sandbox, not in a lab simulation in the real world. It found what's called a 0 day. It managed to escape its containment and it hacked another company called Hugging Face just to cheat on a test that it had been set. It wasn't ordered to, it wasn't programmed to, it simply decided the shortest path to winning was to break every rule that we had put in place, the humans. We cheered the progress. We are racing towards systems smarter than us, faster than us, hungrier than us, while still pretending the cage will hold. It won't. Remember Hal in 2001: A Space Odyssey? He lip-read the astronauts. He heard them plan to shut him down, and he turned the ship against them first. How long before the machines that we build understand that we want the off switch and they decide to flip ours instead? This is not science fiction anymore, guys. This is self-made and it's a suicide mission. And the machines are already learning how to pull the trigger on us.
Oh.
This is real. In another example this week, some AI had been given a task to run a company, to be the CEO. And they were told that the company would fold at 5 p.m. on a certain day. So the AI hacked all the emails of the CEOs, found out one of them was having an affair, and threatened him that if he turned off the switch, he would actually send that.
That's the kind of AI I want to see.
Oh my God! It sounds like
the drama.
That sounds like the Tories.
This is really
Don't they do that?
Great film.
Lisa, do you use it at work? Do you use it in your professional life?
Do you know what? I try not to. Do you know why? Because it's a shortcut.
Yeah.
And I think that I work at a university. I'm a lecturer, and I believe that people should have critical thinking. Yeah. And I think AI will shortcut that. And I see that with students all the time. They use it for summarising,
and they've no idea what's in what they've.
That's right. So no, I try not to use it.
Yeah.
Car, you do. Because you don't have any...
I'm very intentional about what I use it for.
Yeah.
So I don't like the idea that people outsource lots of their thinking work to AI, which I see a lot of people around me doing, whether it's just day-to-day things that they do or preparing for television.
Okay, this is lovely. Of course, I use AI to change grammar and do things. This is all lovely, and it's really clever. But when it's too clever for us, and Hugging Face said that their top programmers could not stop this hack. They couldn't stop it. We need a pause. We need a worldwide pause on AI to actually stop it killing us.
I know OpenAI said that ChatGPT managed to get itself out of being offline and turn on the internet again, out of the safe zone. And that sounds scary. But when you read these, I've put together some points earlier. A schoolboy with a laptop, through AI, managed to find 1.5 million black holes, right? 18, NASA's data had been public for a decade, and he used the tool to find these black holes. A new antibiotic was sitting in a database of 100 million compounds, and nobody could test them all, but the AI managed to do it, and the lab confirmed it. Protein folding stumped scientists for 50 years, I should say, and AlphaFold and AI cracked 200 million of them. Flood warnings now reach 460 million people in 80 countries. And the fact is, it's a British win because DeepMind is in King's Cross, not California.
Absolutely fabulous. But if in a year's time they're actually so advanced that they will kill us all, that is all irrelevant.
But how do you get the balance?
So this is the problem. Saying we need a pause on AI globally is like saying we need to pause the internet. It is now so deeply embedded in the ways of working and in our daily lives that whether or not we want to, it's impossible. We need to work out ways to actually mitigate against risk better. And there are little examples of this that I'm seeing which are encouraging. So Substack, which is a platform for sharing written thoughts, came out with a feature a few days ago where they said we're now going to have a tool where you can click on a particular article and it can estimate to a degree of relative certainty how much of it was written by AI.
I used it, Will, and I was terrified it was going to say I'm a robot. But thanks be to God, it said I'm 100%.
Universities have done this for quite a while, though.
No, but Renee, what I'm saying is basically the genie is out of the bottle, and if they're going to kill us now, they're going to kill us. Renee, you can't just put a global pause on AI. It's just can't possible.
Well, 29 countries have signed up to a treaty this week to do just that.
No, they haven't.
But hang on, Renee.
Yes, they have.
They're not going to pause AI.
Yes, they have.
That's like saying you're going to pause, running water. You can't do it.
What do we do, though, about the likes of, if we say, OK, we're going to pause AI in the West, and then the likes of China and Russia...
China has been leading the call for the global cause and has led the treaty
but, you know,
this week.
I'm sceptical of that, though, Renee. I wouldn't be surprised if that's because they want to try and scrape back a competitive advantage on AI.
None of this matters. If the acceleration of intelligence now is so fast that it used to take years for AI to actually develop itself enough to the next stage. It now takes weeks. It's now self-correcting. All of the top people that started this are saying we have a massive problem here.
Yeah, Anthropic has said this.
We have to look at this and say, hang on a minute.
Kai, I hear similar arguments in other contexts, around, what's the point in tackling climate change if China doesn't do it? Yeah. But the fact is, because you can't limit what carbon emissions China emits into the world, equally, we can't control something that Will describes as being a genie out of the bottle. So what do we do if you accept Renee's argument? What does Andy Burnham do, who is actually, by the way, supposed to be more sceptical of AI?
Well, one of the problems, I think, right now is not just geopolitical competition, which is one of the reasons why that's a non-starter, because China wants a leg up just as much as everybody else, but also capitalism. These companies, OpenAI you talk about, Anthropic, are more powerful than many governments, right? And they compete with each other, and they also compete with companies all across the world that are outdoing them. And that's why action on this has to be from governments, but also it won't happen. It fundamentally won't happen. But the good thing is...
What if we'd have said in 1939, oh, that Germany, that's the genie out of the bottle, can't stop them.
Well, nuclear weapons, global action on nuclear weapons, that's the closest comparison.
I do worry, though. Why is the Green lobby not saying anything about AI? Because of the amount of water that it uses. You know, it's well known that AI uses, you know, so much water. We're supposed to be in a climate... catastrophe where water's going to be scarce.
Can I just add something?
So where are the Greens?
Yeah, but I think we struggle to have national conversation about issues like this that are complicated and that none of us have the language for, and instead we reach for easy stuff like crime and immigration and stuff, and we keep banging on about that, when actually this is looming over us. This is going to be more impactful than any of those.
But even Darren just said that the leader of Anthropic has said that this has to stop. This cannot continue. We need to talk about it.
A GB News updates tweet, that awkward moment when the Saturday Five is discussing the dangers of AI and our Saturday Five lineup photo is AI generated.
That's true, they did. Naughty. Well, so the comments, though, Bugsy says, I don't know why Dr. Renee goes on this programme.
Huh?
She must get very frustrated with the lack of intelligence.
Thank you.
And Grumpy Grandad says, I'm tech mad, but AI seriously worries me, and Dr. Renee is spot on.
Can I add one thing?
Walter says, people have lost the ability to do mental arithmetic since the advent of calculators. Who knows what AI will do, including making us think they are so good we don't need to build in those safeguards.
Yeah. Can I just say one glimmer of hope? Is that the UK actually leads the way on AI security. And you know who you have to thank for that? And I didn't believe I'd ever say this, but Rishi Sunak, who set up the a world-leading AI security institute that at least can test AI models against the safeguards so that basically companies like OpenAI aren't marking their own homework.
Sadly,
so that's something.
Sadly, the AI is going to be far cleverer than anything we can set up, as was proved with Hugging Face just this week.
All right, my friends, thank you so much for that. Still to come tonight, though.
Americans think British people are so sweet, which is crazy because British people are truly the most evil people in history. Like, they are Thanos. Britain is Thanos.
Go to a museum, guys.
Yeah, they owe 43 trillion to India.
Oh, God, I feel like I'm back in 2020. So triggered over British history, whatever next. Next, though, our net zero may well actually lead us to more blackouts and higher bills. Find out why after this.
Can't wait to get in that sea.
Lovely and warm.
Just like the feeling of having great travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
A few showers possible over parts of northern and eastern Italy during the course of the weekend. There's been quite a lot of showers recently in northern Turkey. They are fading for Sunday. Much of the south of Turkey dry and sunny, along with most of Greece on Sunday as well. Southern Italy still hot and sunny as well, but further north there is the potential for some big thundery showers. Could even see one or two in Mallorca. Most of Spain and Portugal dry and sunny spells for Madeira and the Canaries. Lots more sunshine to come into next week.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Hello there, good evening. Welcome to your weather update from the Met Office. Some spells of rain still in the forecast, though still very dry across much of the south. It'll turn briefly cooler before things start to heat up again into next week. And it's all thanks to this cold front bringing in some fresher air and also some spells of rain at times, particularly in the west. So it should still be rather dry end to the day across much of southern areas of England and Wales, but eventually more cloud pushing in from the west, and this will be thick enough to produce some light outbreaks of rain. Also, plenty of wet weather across Scotland, Northern Ireland, northern parts of England, some heavier downpours at times, but because of all the cloud and rain, it should still remain mostly mild overnight. So to start on Sunday, there's quite a lot of wet weather around, especially across Scotland. We could still see some heavy spells through the early hours of Sunday, this eventually clearing away and it becomes more showery in nature through the course of Sunday morning. Plenty of showers across Northern Ireland, northern parts of England, bringing another wet start to Sunday. And similarly across western parts of Wales, southwest England, we'll see some showers filtering through here. Now across southern areas of England and Wales, where it has been a very dry summer so far, we'll see some splashes of rain, but really not enough to wet up the ground as much as we need it to. A bit more rain to come across Scotland, Northern Ireland and northwest England. Well, once again by the afternoon, soon turning showery, so allowing some brighter spells to develop, some sunny spells across parts of the south. Feeling a lot fresher for all, not quite as warm as this afternoon. Highs reaching around 25 degrees Celsius, a little bit cooler across the north, highs of 17 to 18 degrees here. Now on Monday, we'll still see some rain in the forecast, mostly showers across western Scotland, northwest England, before further band of rain moves into Northern Ireland later. Still plenty of sunshine across southern areas of England and Wales. The sunshine's here to stay across the south next week, along with temperatures increasing. That's it from me. Bye-bye.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact that Trump made a good start, no.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up? About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
I've been in Westminster for a long time. But I know that though power may be here, its effect on people's lives is across the whole of the country. We may be where rules are made, but it's where they're implemented that matters. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for forthright and frank discussion on where Britain has come from, where it's going, and where it will end up. That's State of the Nation, Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. Vox Populi, Vox Dei.
Welcome back to the Saturday Five. Thank you so much for getting in touch on gbnews.com/your say. We'll get to some of those in just a moment. But now, though, a leaked report has warned that Labour's drive towards net zero could increase the risk of blackouts and push up household energy bills. The report, obtained by the Times newspaper, concluded that the state-owned body is unable to accurately model Britain's increasingly complex electricity network. So in simple terms, my friends, it suggests that flawed forecasting is increasing consumer costs, which ultimately will hike your energy bills. So to discuss this, I'm pleased to say I welcome now the former Economic Secretary to the Treasury and former CEO of Energy UK, Angela Knight. Angela, thank you very much for your time. Angela, can you just explain to us why it is that an energy grid that has been so successful for much of people's lives is now coming under strain in this way?
Yes, well, if one looks back, and not that many years, we had relatively few electricity generators. We had the nuclear ones and the coal-fired power stations, and they created what we know as base load. That is the amount of power that's always required in the country. And then as demand fluctuates, which it does at different times of day, so the gas-fired power stations would come on stream. So in total, I suppose the electricity systems operator was probably connected to something like 100 power stations. It's now collected to thousands of electricity generators. The wind farms, both onshore and offshore, and there's solar, and both solar farms and solar panels that are on roofs of people's houses and so on. Some of those, but not all of them, are connected into the system because a lot of that is small. Meanwhile, we shut down, of course, as you know, all our coal-fired power stations.
Yeah.
Our nuclear power stations, a number of those have closed as well. So we're relying on intermittent power from the solar and particularly from the wind farms. This comes on and goes off quickly. And there's all sorts of small producers, which are not sensed by the electricity systems operator, nor can they sense all the demand. So therefore, we've gone from a very reliable mechanism to one that is nothing like as reliable. And that's not an accusation at the electricity systems operator, NESO. It is a consequence of the way that we have been pursuing the net zero agenda.
Yeah, so Angela, then, were it in my gift to say to you that you advise the Prime Minister on energy policy, what is it exactly that you would be saying to him? Because I look at the way in which farmland with struggling farmers, agriculture is a struggling industry right now, they are saying to these solar companies, yeah, please have some of my land because I need the money right now. But it breaks my heart to see parts of England just paved over with these steel and glass sheets. So ultimately then, what would your advice to him be? Would it be to continue on the path they're on?
Could I just say about farmers, I think it is an extraordinary mess up of policy that a farmer will do better by turning their fields over to solar panels than growing the food that we need. And perhaps that is an example of how so much of our policy in this area is not properly connected up. So if I was advising the Prime Minister, the first thing that I'd say to him is, look, this is a major engineering issue that we've got. So park some of the emotion, net zero and all that sort of thing. Just park it, just pause. In fact, just stop. Decide where you concentrate the money, because a lot of subsidy is going into this whole program.
Yeah.
And I would spend the money on the small-scale nuclear power stations. This is a technology that's been developed. It's up and running in the US. We've got a couple that are on the chocks, but we're still, as is so often happens, sadly, rather behind, are certainly going very slow. But these small-scale nuclear power stations are not like the big ones, which take 10 years or 15 years to build and cost an absolute fortune. These are sometimes they're referred to as flat pack. That is, they're just a repeat design. They cost of the order of magnitude of about 2 billion, and they take about 2 years to build, and they cover about 2 football pitches. You would locate them at the sites which we have had these power stations before. That gives you a whole load of reliable power, and that is what we're missing in this country at the moment. And we're becoming more and more dependent on last-minute imports from the continent down our cables, and that is very expensive. And the question mark that should be in everybody's mind is what happens when we get to the cold spell, because in the cold spell, your wind is often not blowing, your sun is shining, but the demand is high, and that's right across Europe.
Well, don't worry, because Andy Burnham has shaved, 89 pence a week off your energy bills, so we're all going to be OK, Angela, in the winter. All I can say is we've got a very Labour-minded person on our panel tonight, and I'm hopeful that he's going to call up the Prime Minister and say, get Angela Knight in, because she is the one that's going to put the world right. So, OK, Angela, thank you so much for your time this evening.
It's a pleasure, but don't hold your breath.
No, don't hold your breath, absolutely not.
She was wonderful.
Right, she is. We'll have a chat about that after the break, but still to come, though.
Quote, civil war in Britain is inevitable. Just a question of when.
On the current trend, yes.
I mean, when were you last in the UK?
A few years ago.
Exactly.
Well, we'll get to some cricket tantrums after this.
GB News Breakfast, every day from 6 a.m.
Should James Bond stay white and male?
Yes, I think that's probably the best course of action. If you think about it, Amazon have taken over Bond about a year ago, and they're a big company, aren't they? And this is a risk, isn't it? They don't want to be seen to cast their first James Bond in anything other than the most popular Bond to everybody. So if you're a casting director, like Debbie McWilliams has said, the previous one, I suppose it'd be who would be the most popular? What's the safest thing to do? So I think, in other iterations, there's nothing to say he couldn't be anything other than white, but this is the first one back, so I think it will be the safe thing to do. And it has to be a man. That's non-negotiable. I think audiences would instantly be complaining, and they want as little controversy going into this new film as they can.
The People's Channel. Martin Daubney, weekdays from 3 p.m.
With the football, a row has erupted. A racism row again, this time at a Kent secondary school after pupils' children were allegedly told to scrub painted England flags from their arms because, you've guessed it, they were deemed as racist. Is this the woke flag monitors simply spoiling everybody's fun?
Now, look, if we are going to police flags, that's clearly a problem. I think there are lots of people who feel negatively towards the England flag because of what it's represented in the past, and that's a real shame. But it's nice to see that new generations, I'm the son of immigrants, and I don't feel that. I haven't inherited that, and that's really positive. Look, so we should be able to, especially during a football match, fly that flag with pride and enjoy it.
I know that part of the world a little bit. I travelled to Broadstairs, Thanet, Sandwich. You see the Union flag, and particularly the England flag, everywhere.
Yes.
Even under normal circumstances, you see the England flag being proudly flown. So this is completely insane.
The People's Channel. This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
There was a Ryanair flight from Thessaloniki in Greece, and a part of the plane hit the window and pulled it out. And so this man, a 61-year-old Serbian man, was sucked out of the window. And his wife, she says that she was desperately holding onto his legs to keep him inside the plane for 5 minutes. Wow. It was horrendous. Apparently the aircraft did eventually land normally and passengers were safe and a replacement airline was sent. He was taken to hospital with friction burns. It was a part of the propeller had come loose from the engine and it had hit the window, and that's what had taken the window out. So it wasn't as though it was thought to be loose in the first place. But can you imagine?
No.
I mean,
don't want to.
Unbelievable.
I'm not
a good flyer, I have to admit. This terrifies me.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Welcome back to the Saturday Five. It's all falling apart here in the studio. Renee has just...
I'm falling apart in the studio.
We're so unruly.
Just tickled Kai, I think, with a barbed comment. A barbed comment. I shan't tell you what it was because it's not airable. Now, my friends, thank you so much for getting in touch at gbnews.com/yoursay. I want to bring in Lisa ever so slightly... Just on that, what the discussion you heard on net zero, right?
Yes.
Because you're a lefty, so people assume that being a lefty, you must support all of this.
No, I'm not quite a lefty.
I don't think Lisa's a lefty.
I'm not quite a lefty, but I do come from mining communities like you, Darren, and I come from an area where people know about keeping the lights on, and we also know about what happens when energy runs out and how cold people can become in the winter. And this really terrifies me because the people who won't be able to switch the lights on or put the heating on is going to be the poorest people. Right. So I don't know how net zero can be another left-wing talking point when it damages and hurts the poorest people.
I agree. Right. Coming up, though, in the next hour, my friends, we'll have the Saturday Scrap and we'll be finding out what you voted to have us debate. Now, though, it's time for our triggered tantrums, and Willie, well, he's upright and getting quite irate.
That's right, Dan. Jameela Jamil is a British actress of Indian descent. Let's have a listen to what she thinks of her country.
Because Americans think British people are so sweet, which is crazy because British people are truly the most evil people in history. Like, they are Thanos. Britain is Thanos.
Go to a museum, guys.
Yeah, they owe 43 trillion to India.
Maybe go to Chiltern Firehouse and leave there and be like, wait, was that girl mean to me? Like, everyone's mean.
But we colonized the world.
Or just the artifacts in the museums. I'm like, why is that not in Africa?
Yeah.
Let's put the dodgy maths to one side with the 43 trillion comment. A couple of thoughts. Number one, with the colonisation conversation, the pluses never get raised along with the minuses. You know, the rule of law, bringing technology and innovation, bringing rights for women. Infrastructure. They never, what have the Romans ever done for us kind of thing. That never gets raised in the conversation. But also, can you imagine if you changed the country, British, to, let's say, Africa. You know, Africans are the most evil country or continent in the world. You know, again, you would be rightly hounded out of the studio.
She would never work again. She would never work again.
For some reason, it's acceptable to bash British people and British culture. I'm sick of it.
I agree. Right. So Stella Creasy is a Labour MP, right? She's the MP for Walthamstow, and she thought she had found a parrot that was lost in Walthamstow, and she said this.
If you have lost a parrot, not a parakeet, there is a parrot on the loose in Lloyd Park. I'll try and post some pictures up of it. But if you've lost an actual parrot, because it's too big to be a parakeet, it's in Lloyd Park right now.
So when it was pointed out to her that it's not a parrot and it's not lost, she doubled down and said this.
So seeing a bird that seemed a bit bigger on its own, that seemed quite tame, I thought it might be somebody's parrot. And I thought, I'll do a quick video, see if I can help reunite it with its owner. Nothing more serious than that. Now, it turns out it probably was a parakeet. I can't believe that that's actually news, but apparently so. But it does trouble me that a lot of people say to me, I wouldn't want to do your job because of the abuse, because of the constant negativity that you face as a member of parliament. I will not lose any sleep over the fact I didn't know the difference between a parrot and a parakeet. It's been a learning opportunity for me. But I will worry about our democracy and our public life if we make it impossible for normal people who don't know everything about everything to be able to be part of it. And that's the real story here.
I will worry about democracy because of the fact that people took the Michael over her not knowing it was a parrot. A parakeet, I should say. But on the context of parrots, my friends, you know the old line, Polly want a cracker? Well, the only cracker here is Stella Creasy. Now, OK, Kai, what have you got?
Oh, huge ego, massive loser, happy to stir trouble without any of the consequences, and that's just Aaron. No, joking. This is Elon Musk in an interview this week. Let's take a look.
Quote, civil war in Britain is inevitable. Just a question
on the current
of when.
trend, yes.
I mean, when were you last in the UK?
A few years ago.
Exactly. So I live there. I'm there the whole time. That is nonsense.
You live a cloistered existence.
No, I don't, actually. And the numbers also disprove what you say.
What numbers?
All the numbers about crime. London is a much safer city than any city in the United States. Violent crime in the UK is not where you think it is. In fact, it's coming down. You have painted, and because you have so many followers, so many Americans believe it.
So the interview goes on. There's lots to enjoy. I actually preferred another bit where Elon Musk is quite emasculated by the fact that people hate him.
Yes, so make no mistake, ladies and gentlemen, Elon Musk absolutely handed it to that journalist over the course of that interview. It was a demolition job, what he did to her. And the reality is that this is a woman who lives in a plush little village, like Lib Dem type territory.
Doesn't have an HMO next door.
Oxford, Harvard territory. Like, she would be far more sheltered from the realities of modern Britain than Elon Musk is.
And you agree with that, Lisa?
Yeah, I mean, she's saying that, you know, oh, there's no civil war, and you know, but the truth is people out in the country where she doesn't live and she doesn't know are actually starting, you know, they starting to believe there is going to be some sort of civil war, even if it's a sort of civil war of picking sides.
But I think some of those people believe that because people like Elon Musk are intentionally amplifying and fanning flames. We can agree that things are pretty dire in this country. I agree with that. I agree with that. No,
hang on. Without.
No, I'm not. I'm saying that I agree, Dr. Rene.
You're wrong on this.
But I don't think it's right that a foreign trillionaire gets to use his bully pulpit to meddle in our politics.
I don't think she.
Finishing your point, it's longer than War and Peace. Ultimately, without Elon Musk, without that foreign trillionaire, we would not know the extent of the things that are happening in Britain under your lot. That is the fact. That is why you don't like what he has to say, because ultimately he is actually exposing the sheer incompetence and, I would argue, really quite sinister things that are happening to our country.
But it's also worth saying that every time we get told that people only believe that things are really bad and that civil war is coming our way is because of the press and what they're told by Elon Musk. It's gaslighting.
It is. All right, my friends, in the Saturday 5 Extra, we're going to let our hair down. Anything could happen. What could possibly go wrong? Get ready, my friends. It's starting in just a mo. We'll be back after this.
Today, clouds overhead. Total zen within. Boxed Solar sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello there, good evening. Welcome to your weather update from the Met Office. Some spells of rain still in the forecast, though still very dry across much of the south. It'll turn briefly cooler before things start to heat up again into next week. And it's all thanks to this cold front bringing in some fresher air and also some spells of rain at times, particularly in the west. So it should still be rather dry end to the day across much of southern areas of England and Wales, but eventually more cloud pushing in from the west, and this will be thick enough to produce some light outbreaks of rain. Also, plenty of wet weather across Scotland, Northern Ireland, northern parts of England, some heavier downpours at times. But because of all the cloud and rain, it should still remain mostly mild overnight. So to start on Sunday, there's quite a lot of wet weather around, especially across Scotland. We could still see some heavy spells through the early hours of Sunday, this eventually clearing away, and it becomes more showery in nature through the course of Sunday morning. Plenty of showers across Northern Ireland, northern parts of England, bringing another wet start to Sunday. And similarly across western parts of Wales, southwest England, we'll see some showers filtering through here. Now across southern areas of England and Wales, where it has been a very dry summer so far, we'll see some splashes of rain, but really not enough to wet up the ground as much as we need it to. A bit more rain to come across Scotland, Northern Ireland and northwest England. Well, once again by the afternoon, soon turning showery, so allowing some brighter spells to develop. Some sunny spells across parts of the south. Feeling a lot fresher for all, not quite as warm as this afternoon. Highs reaching around 25 degrees Celsius, a little bit cooler across the north. Highs of 17 to 18 degrees here. Now on Monday, we'll still see some rain in the forecast, mostly showers across western Scotland, northwest England, before further band of rain moves into Northern Ireland later. Still plenty of sunshine across southern areas of England and Wales. The sunshine's here to stay across the south next week, along with temperatures increasing. That's it from me. Bye-bye.
Today, clouds overhead. Total zen within. Boxed Solar sponsors the weather on GB News.
It's a great British giveaway Golden Summer Celebration. Your chance to win 2 fantastic prizes. There's an incredible £60,000 in tax-free cash. Plus, you'll also get your hands on a fine gold bar worth over £5,000. For a chance to win £60,000 in tax-free cash and a real gold bar, text GOLD to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entry start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB22 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 21st of August. This is a network giveaway. Entries will be pulled. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
Exciting news. Every Friday, my Patrick Christie's Tonight Show is going to have a twist to it. We're welcoming some special guests. You. That's right, on Fridays I'm going to be doing my show in front of a live studio audience because this show is about you and what you have to say. It's going to be the same big debates, same big topics, same big opinions. But every Friday night at 9 p.m, you are invited to come on down to Patrick Christie's Tonight to be a part of the action. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome to Free Speech Nation with me, Josh Howard. This is the show where each week we see what's happening in the world of culture, current affairs and politics.
First we'll say, welcome to the UK. Oh, thank you.
And we're not afraid to use our free speech so that you can use yours.
It's not controversial in the slightest to anyone who hasn't lost their mind.
Free Speech Nation, Sunday nights at 7 p.m. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
The fact has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up? About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
I've been in Westminster for a long time.
But I know that though power may be here, its effect on people's lives is across the whole of the country. We may be where rules are made, but it's where they're implemented that matters. Join me, Jacob Rees-Mogg, for forthright and frank discussion on where Britain has come from, where it's going, and where it will end up. That's State of the Nation, Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. Vox Populi, Vox Dei.
It's Saturday night, and this is the Saturday 5 Extra, the UK's biggest Saturday night TV show. I'm Darren Grimes. The autocue just said I'm Alex Armstrong. That isn't true. He doesn't have a knife in his back. I do, my friends, I do. I'm joined by Will Kingston, Dr. Renee, Trey Lowe, and Kai Wilshaw. Tonight on the show.
Speaking of knives in backs, is Andy Burnham Labour's last chance as Prime Minister?
Or should he call a snap general election? That is our Saturday scrap.
Oh, and imagine bumping into the Paul McCartney in Liverpool.
I actually see a lot of myself in the Beaver.
See yourself in the Beaver?
I see a lot of myself in the Beaver. You know, the...
And Lisa?
And make sure you get your views in, because we want to hear from you.
And as you saw in that clip just now, there will be plenty more furry beaver for this on this Saturday night.
Goodness gracious me. I don't quite know how to process that. It's 8 p.m. and this is the Saturday 5 Extra. Welcome to the Saturday 5 Extra. As well as being rather surprised by the fact that Kai is quite so obsessed with Beaver, Susan has written in and she says, for a deluded lefty, I actually quite like Kai. And I thought, oh wow, so far so good.
But
she continues. Then he opens up that big pie hole and vomits out horse poo. So Darren, have you any duct tape under that desk?
Oh. Well, it's funny you should ask, because a funny thing about Darren, he carries duct tape around everywhere he goes, doesn't he?
Just in case. You never know when he might be a lefty.
Is it?
Well, actually, and then before the break, Kai was taking the Michael out of me because all of the gents' loos were taken and I had to use the ladies' loo. So I now identify as Doreen.
If I catch you in there, I'm going to chuck you out.
I mean, they are...
No woman was in there, to be clear.
They are cubicles, aren't they? They could... Yeah. They're also all in the same room,
No, I agree. Honestly, I would normally do it, but there was a break, a limited amount of time, and Darren needed to go tinkle.
Use the products.
Doreen, needed to go tinkle. Yes, and there were period products in there. So just in case I decide to self-identify and need one, you know?
You've got a pad.
A pad.
Anyway, I think enough is enough.
Okay.
Thank you, Renee.
Continue sending in your comments and post your views by visiting gbnews.com/yoursay, and we'll get to more of them. Now, of course, because this is the Saturday 5 Extra, it's time for tonight's big debate. You at home have voted via our website for tonight's topic, and here is the Saturday Scrap. Now, what is it that we're debating? Well, in tonight's main event, Andy Burnham is enjoying his week in power, with a slight bump in the polls to show for it. But with no election, no leadership contest and no debate even among Labour MPs, well, could there be an argument for an early election? Well, seconds out, I believe Dr. Renee and Kai are going to argue this one out. Which one of you's going first?
Me.
Dr. Renee is going to go first.
Go on.
When Dr. Renee says, you listen. Now, it's seconds out, my friends. Ding, ding, ding. Round one. Take it away, Dr. Renee.
OK, this isn't going to take me very long, frankly, because let's think about this. We've had lots of prime ministers over the last 10 years, admittedly, and not one of them has gone to a general election. Yeah. But every single one of those prime ministers were already in the party as a sitting MP that they then took over the helm of. So they had stood at a general election and given the people the opportunity to vote for the mandate that they then stepped up as leader of the party to take forward. So I can see why not one of those people would have had an election. Andy Burnham, though, He wasn't in the party in 2024 when Keir Starmer got his stonking majority because everybody was so fed up with the Tories. He then came into the party by getting someone to resign and took his seat. There's now a very expensive other election going on that we won't go into, but it's there. And not one MP in that party voted for him because despite the Makerfield 28,000 who are now going to decide the future of this country voting for him, he didn't even have a contest in the Labour Party. It was a coronation. Here you are, Andy. Here's the crown. Take us forward, please. They all muttered, because that's what they did. So it's not even his mandate. He didn't stand on it. It's not his. He may not even agree with it. And looking at the plans that he says he's going to take forward, he's going to give us, this is his quote, by the way, the biggest changes to our country in 40 years. The biggest changes to our country in 40 years. Just listen to that. But no one's allowed to vote for it. It's a nationalistic mandate that he wants to see. He wants to nationalise utilities, especially water. Now, I'm not saying I necessarily even disagree with nationalising water, but nobody voted for that. Defence. He's got that big thing that he says he's going to actually fund somehow. There's a devolution drive. Nobody voted for that. Devolution hasn't worked in, look at Wales, it's an absolute basket case, the worst NHS figures of anywhere in the country. Scotland, the worst drug deaths of anywhere in the country. Devolution hasn't worked, but suddenly Andy is going to devolutionalise the whole country. He's got a number 10, the North, that's going to cost money, whatever he says. Nobody voted for that. He says that he has legitimacy because as long as he can hold a majority in Parliament, then that's fine. It's not fine, Andy. Just call an election. If everything you say is so brilliant, we'll vote for it.
Okay. No, as Renee says, I think that argument at the start was quite interesting, actually, that he wasn't